Hi guys, welcome to your next instalment in your chord training. This video is going to take what you've already learnt in the first chords video, and basically what we're going to do is we are going to learn to play those in a musical manner. So instead of just playing them randomly and going through them one by one and learning to play them, we're going to put them in some sequences that sound musical, because it's the way you're going to find these chords in songs when you start learning to play them, and it's the way that you would arrange them together if you were going to write your own songs. So hopefully it will give you an understanding of how the chords fit together, but more importantly it'll get you practicing changing between them and changing between chords that sound nice together. Okay, so that's the approach we're going to take. Hopefully you've already downloaded the worksheet that accompanies this lesson. It's on the blog with the lesson. Download it, print it off, or have it on your iPad or whatever you're using. And we're going to go through these. We're not going to go through them all. I'm going to show you the basic principle of going through them, and then you can work through them on your own. Now, the approach that I want you to take to these is I want you to build up slowly. I don't want you to rush anything that you're doing, because when you rush, you're going to have bad habits within your playing, and those bad habits are just going to get carried forward. So I want you to think about what you're doing. So we're going to do everything quite slowly. And the other thing I want you to do is I want you to do this to a metronome. Now I've got a big old wooden metronome here. I set the tempo and it just ticks away. I'm going to use that. You can get a metronome from anywhere. You can get little electronic ones. You can get them for your phones. You can get them for Android, for the iPhone, for any phone. The reason I want you to use one is because it will teach you to keep time, but it will also give you a mark of your progress. So if you start playing these chords today and you can play them at 80 beats a minute, and that's comfortable, you can ramp up the tempo a little bit, play them a little bit faster, find the tempo where you're struggling, and then work on that tempo, and then gradually increase over time, but doing it so the chords are clean and they're nice. Okay, so don't want any buzzing strings or anything else. Just really try and make this all sound clean. The tempo will act like your drummer. So what it's going to do, it's going to make you able to keep time. There's nothing worse than playing in your bedroom and never really having to think about timing, and then all of a sudden going and playing with other people and realizing you can't keep time, so you speed up and you slow down. So that metronome is there to develop a sense of timing as well. So it's not just there for the exercise, it's there to be your drummer, it's there so you can play with people in the future. Okay, so if you've not got a metronome now, don't worry, but let's try and get hold of a metronome for some of the later lessons. Okay, you will benefit from it, I promise. Okay, so what we've got on this worksheet, we've got 18 lessons all tabbed out with some rhythm charts on there. These are very simply shown as a straightforward, what I would call a whole note. So we're in 4/4 time, which means there are 4 beats to the bar. So we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the way this works is we play the first note. Initially, the way we want to approach this is we're going to play 1, 1. So we're going to hold the chord for all 4 beats and just keep a nice clean chord. Now, you may be struggling to change your chords. They may not be fluid. So I'm going to show you some ways to actually keep time and change those chords in a given number of beats. So we'll make a start. The first chord progression we're going to look at, I've given you the key signature. The key signature is just, you've probably heard of reference before, you know, C, the key of C major, the key of G major. I've picked chords that fit within those keys. You don't need to worry about that too much for now. We will go into the theory behind key signatures and how you select the chords later. For now, I've already picked them for you. So we're going to do exercise 1 on the sheet. As I say, it's a progression in C major. It's what's called a 1-5 progression. Okay, so if we took the key of C major, the notes in that are C, D, E, F, G, A and B. Okay, 1-5 is simply, I'm going to build a chord on the first note, which is C, and then I'm going to build a chord on the 5th note, which is C, D, E, F, G, which gives us C and G major. C major and G major, they're the 2 chords we're going to use. 1-5 chord progression is very common, found in a lot of music, okay? So, what I'm going to do, if you get yourselves ready, make sure you're familiar with your C and your G again, okay? We're going to run through it a few times, and then what we will do, I'll show you some exercises that you can do if you're struggling to change, and we'll move on to the other ones. But we're going to start with this. I'm going to start my metronome off. It's going to be very annoying, but we're going to use it to make us better players, okay? So I'm just going to give it a bit of a flick, and there it is. We're at 80 beats a minute. The sheet says that. It's relatively slow, but you still might find it fast, if that makes any sense at all. So let's start off. We're going to have 2 bars of C, okay, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Then we change to G. So I'll do that. You can play along if you can. If not, you can take away this concept. You can do it in your own time, okay? So let's make a start. So we start with that C. So I play it. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, G. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so stop that a minute. Now the interesting thing about this, even though we're only playing at 80 beats a minute, because we're holding that chord for 4 beats, the chord change is still really quick. So you probably didn't get the chord change in time, or you possibly didn't. Probably is not the right word. You possibly didn't get it in time. So what we're going to do, we're going to give you a way of timing yourself for the change. I'm going to start the metronome off again, and I'm just going to go from C to G, which is the chord change. So I'm going to hold C for a count of 4, then I'm going to use a count of 4 to change to G. So that'll give you time to think about moving the chord. Okay? So hopefully you kind of get that, but I'll start the metronome off and I'll show you what I mean. Okay. So let's make a start. C, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. G, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. C, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. G, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, C. Okay, so stop my metronome just a second. Okay, so now what you're doing is you're actually setting some time constraints on how long it takes you to change the chord, and you're trying to keep time. It's not easy. The chord changes are difficult. Okay, if you're really struggling, what we're going to do is we're going to look at some exercises to strengthen these chords and develop muscle memory in your fingers. Muscle memory being that your fingers know where they're going to go. Okay, your fingers remember. The connection between the brain and the hand, and you're not having to consciously think about it. Okay, so I'm going to start the metronome and we're going to bounce these chords. I'm just going to play a C. That's all I'm going to play. But I'm going to play it to a metronome. And what I'm going to do, on every beat, I'm going to lift my fingers up. I'm going to play 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Which I've just done, but I'm going to do it to a metronome in a minute. You'll get the concept. The idea is that by lifting your fingers off the fretboard and keeping them in shape, you're actually training your fingers where a C is without putting your fingers down. Once they're on the neck, and this goes for any chord, once they're actually on the neck and they're pressing the chord down, they're actually not developing any muscle memory because they're actually held in place by the strings and the pressure that you're applying. So basically we're going to bounce these. And you do these with every chord. We'll do it with the C, then we'll do it with the G. Okay? And you can do this with all your chords. If you're struggling with them, bounce them to a metronome. I'll start the metronome. I'm going to bounce C. Okay? Okay, so that was C bouncing. Now that will really will develop your strength in this hand, and this hand will start to remember where the chords are, and you won't have to think about it. And think, oh, where are all my fingers going to go? It'll just come naturally. Okay, so let's do it with the G. Same concept with bounce G. Okay, so I've got my G ready. I'm going to start the metronome. Okay. There you go. Now, you may find when you try and bounce these that you will lift your fingers up and your fingers will fly out of position. Don't worry about that. Mine did when I started, but you'll get used to it. Okay, the fingers will start to remember. So let's now go back to this same progression, C to G. Okay, 2 bars of C, 2 bars of G. You'll have played it. You're gonna count for each one, just one note. Count it for 4. Then what you're going to do is you're going to count. We've got the gap of a bar in between the chords at the minute, so we're basically playing C and then changing, G, then changing. What we're going to do is we're going to reduce it down. So instead of a count of 4, we'll go to a count of 2, and then a count of 1, and then we'll eventually be changing when we need to change. Okay. So I'll show you what I mean. So there's the metronome. So let's play C. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. G. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. C. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. G. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. C. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, G, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, C, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, G, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, C. Excuse me. So there we go. What we've just done is we've taken that progression, we started off, we tried to change everything on the beat, C, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4. If that wasn't possible, we've given ourselves time to change the chord, but we've limited the time. We've not just said I can take as long as I want, we've said I'm going to have a count of 4. Do that for a while, then you're going to basically say, okay, I can do it in 4 now, now I'm going to do it in 3. Now I'm going to do it in 2, now I'm going to do it in 1, now I'm going to try and do it, so I'm playing C, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, and just basically get those chords coming fluidly. And this is the approach you're going to take with every chord that you use. And the other thing you're going to do is, you're going to find the chords that you find difficult. So you'll go through this exercise. This exercise covers all of the open chords that I've given you in the previous lesson. And you will find ones that you really struggle with. And what you're going to do is you're going to focus on those. So you will spend a little time on the ones that you find easy and more time on the ones you find hard. Now, what you will find is that you will want to just play the ones you find easy because they're easy. But what you need to do is focus on the ones that are difficult so you make them easy. Okay, because you need all these chords, else there's going to be songs you can't play. So let's move on. Let's look at exercise 2. This is actually, I think, is easier than exercise 1. So you can do these in any order. Okay, we're going to basically play a 1-6 progression in the key of C major. What we'll do, I'll start off exactly like we did before, but I will start off playing a C. I'll use a count of 4 to change, and then I'll gradually bring it down. 3, 2, 1, and then we'll change. Okay, so starting with the C again, let's get the metronome going. Okay. C, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, A minor, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2. Okay, so I stopped talking there so you could hear the metronome, and so I stopped counting you. So you had to do it for yourself. So I wasn't telling you when to change your chords anymore, because you're going to be practicing this sometimes without the video, so you don't want to hear my voice all the time anyway. So now let's do the same again, but this time I'm going to do a count of 3 in between the chords. So here we go. Okay, now hopefully you could hear that then I was counting, there was 3 clicks that I was changing on. C for 4, count of 3 to change, A minor for 4. Let's take it to 2. Okay. Okay, so we took it to 2. So ultimately, you're then going to take it down to 1, and then you're going to have no count in between. You're just going to change. You're going to play C, 2, 3, 4, A minor, 2, 3, 4. So you work on each one of these, and you won't be able to do it all in one go. You may sit down and you may spend an entire session working on one chord progression and still only be able to change on a count of 4. The only way that that's going to get better is to sit down and keep playing that progression until it comes. Chords are really difficult, okay? They take time to master, they take time to make all the notes sound, they take time to be able to change them quickly. You're actually trying to teach this hand to do things it has never done before, okay? Your left hand is pretty much used for nothing, maybe holding a fork when you eat. There's not a lot of things you do with your left hand in everyday life, unless you're left-handed, of course, then it's the opposite hand. So you've got to teach that hand to do things, and that's what we're doing. So the more you work on it, the better it becomes, okay? So we've gone through 2 progressions. Let's look at the third one, just so you get a flavour for them, and hopefully what you're hearing is they're all quite musical. They all make sense musically, and you could actually sing a melody over the top of them, or you've probably even heard these chord progressions in songs before. So instead of it just being randomness, it actually is a piece of music that you're hearing. Okay, so we're going to look at example 3, then I'm going to look at what you're going to do next once you've actually managed to get them changing, because you don't just want to play C, G, we might do, but you want to put some rhythm to it, and we'll start building those rhythms up, okay? But they're going to be very simple rhythms. So example 3 first. Again, it's in C major. We're doing a progression from C to E minor. Simple as that. E minor, nice chord, not as easy as the last one, the change, but still pretty straightforward, okay? So off we go, and I'm not going to put the gap in between now. I'm going to do C to E minor, but if you struggle with that, put the count of 4 in, reduce it to a count of 3, count of 2, count of 1, get changing on the beat. Okay, here we go. Okay, C to E minor. These are all nice chord progressions. They all sound musical, so you should enjoy playing them. They will frustrate you. Excuse me again. But that frustration will go once you start to master the chords. Okay, so you've been strumming, you've been counting for a whole beat. What we're going to do now is we are going to basically play, still in 4/4 time, so we're going to be counting 4. But what we're going to do is we're going to strum 3 and give you 1 to change, if that makes sense. I'll show you, okay? So here we go. And just so you know, I'm going to do the C to G. I'm going back to example 1. So. Okay, so I counted 3, 1 strum, so I've reduced it. It's 3, 1. So still a bar of 4. I'm playing C, 2, 3, space, G, 2, 3, space. Now let's strum every beat. Okay, so we've added a bit, it sounds a bit different, we're strumming a bit more now. Okay, so this is not about developing a really fast strumming hand, this is about cleanly strumming through the chords, strumming 3 beats, using the 4th beat to change. So instead of strumming 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm strumming 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm still in 4/4 time because that 3 is lasting for the beats 3 and 4. You'll hear it on the metronome. If you play to a metronome, you'll hear what you're playing. Okay, we're not going to do any more complicated rhythms than that at the minute. That's just straightforward downstrokes, no complex rhythms. This is all about getting you to play your chords. Okay, so quick recap. Download the sheet. There are 18 chord progressions on there for you to practice. Okay, they're all in a musical context, so it will sound as if you're playing pieces of music rather than just practicing chords, which is always nice. Download it. Okay. Where's the camera? Get hold of a metronome. Okay. The metronome is your drummer. The metronome is the person that will take you from being a good player to a great player because it will teach you to keep time. Also, it will actually give you something to measure yourself against. So if you are able to do these exercises today at 80 beats a minute and you did them okay, write on the back of this sheet the date that you did it and write down the speed. So put today's date, 80 beats a minute. Next time you sit down and practice at 86 beats a minute, 85, 90, a little bit quicker, and practice at that speed until you can do it. Date that you achieve that, write it on the back, write the tempo, and then move on. Okay, so in a few months when you think, I'm not getting any better at this, look, my chord changes are still no good, what you can do is you can actually say, well, I'm doing them at 120 beats a minute now, And you can go back to the sheet, you can look on the back and you can say, oh, 3 months ago, I was struggling to do them at 80 beats a minute. I am getting better. So it'll actually give you a benchmark. It'll make you feel better about your playing. Okay? So go through these. I'm not going to go through them all with you because that would be the most boring video in the world to watch. I've given you the concepts. Take away the sheet. Go and do it. I'll join you on the next video. Take care. See you soon. Bye.